Hi guys, how we doing? Welcome back to another video. So I'm thinking I don't need to do a full-on introduction for this one because this is like the 20-second video now. But yeah, I'm teaching myself microcontrollers. I'm going through a curriculum. Hopefully you've watched the other videos. So I'm still currently on making decisions, which is if statements. And this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've done 7, or we've done, I think we didn't do 1. We've done 7 of these tasks, all just on if statements, and it's getting a bit of a drag right now. So this is the last one. Hopefully we just bang this one out quickly. So 6 sheep are allowed to wander between 2 fields. So at least we finally have an image. Like, thank you. It's nice to have an image. There are 2 sensors between the fields. Okay. Write a program that counts and displays the number of sheep in each field. Simulate this scenario using 2 switches. Okay, so we're just like counting up and counting down off 2 switches. Show the results in binary form in the LED array. Use 4 LEDs for the west field and 4 for the east field. Interesting. That adds like a bit of complexity where I guess I'd have to like figure out what's what or do some masking and stuff, which that kind of sucks. What would be easier for me is if I just wrote to just port B, port C, east and west. But I'll try and do what they're asking because I guess it's a bit more complicated to split these LEDs in half. Okay, so use 2 switches to represent the sensors. Use 4 LEDs for the west field, 4 for the east. Tip: assume that each sheep is longer than the gap between the sensors. Think about the various scenarios that could happen. A sheep might trigger a sensor and then back out. Can a sheep trigger both sensors and then back out? When does a sheep count as being in the east field? Do I want to go into that level of detail? That's going to make this a long video. So what we're saying there, I guess, is that if the sheep passes through here and reads this sensor, it could then back out, and so that wouldn't count. The sheep would have to go through both, right? But then it would have to lose this sensor first and then this one. And if it didn't do that in that order, with this first and then this second, then the sheep's not here, right? Because the sheep could go here, then it could go to here, and then it could go back to here and back to there. So that's a bit of complicated programming that think about it now, I don't really want to do that. All right, let's start. We'll give it a go, but okay. Scratch. We can forget about this one being a quick one. So, all right, let's start. So what do we need? We need 2 inputs. I've got my old program here. Let's do A0, and that can be sensor 1. Let's just make a new. Oh, what do I do? Let's make a new project to get this. Because I've got all my old variables and stuff. I have to start renaming variables. That's all long. So we're going to do sensor 1, and then we're going to do we'll define our sensors. So let's do a loop to define our 2 sensors, our switches. So we got sensor 1, and that's going through on 1 single bit, the first bit on port A. Yep, that can be a boolean. Yep, okay. So then same again, but for A1, and that is sensor 2. Okay, so we now want 2 variables. Is it what we do? Are we counting? 6 sheep are allowed to wander between 2 fields. Sensors. So we want to count how many sheep are in the eastern field and how many sheep are in the western field. So we want 2 variables there. Add variable. So we want one to be east field number, and we can do that in integer byte, byte, and then another one west. So we've defined now our variables for counting. So now what we want to say is we just want, I guess, two if statements here. So we're going to say if sensor 1 and then if sensor 2. So if sensor 1, if sensor 1 and if sensor 2, and then we're going to add. So I guess it depends on their direction, right? So you actually need forward and reverse, because you want, so this is S1 and that's S2, and then so if you get S1 then S2, you want one sheep going to there, and then if you get S2 then S1, you want one sheep going back from there. You want to subtract there and add there, etc. So I guess we need to embed these as well. So if sensor 1, sensor 2, if sensor 2, then sensor 1. Alright, so we've got two embedded sensors. So if sensor 1 is triggered and sensor 2 is triggered, but that needs to be within a time frame. I'm not trying to make it so that if they're both triggered at once. Yeah, this is a big problem really. So what's going to happen is I can press these both at the same time, but obviously we know things never happen at the same time. So how do I create a delay such that this isn't going to work? I don't know how to do this again. Once again, how do I make it so that if sensor 1 is pressed and then within a second later sensor 2 is pressed? Well, perhaps maybe a sheep just walks into sensor 1, stays there for 5 minutes, then goes sensor 2, but it's still going to make sensor 2 within a certain time frame. So maybe I'm just being a bit too realistic, a bit too literal here. So let's do it like this, but this is ugly. This doesn't really work. So if sensor 1 is pressed, then if sensor 2 is pressed, then increment a counter. So we're going to calculation. I'm not enjoying this at all. This just all feels wrong. Everything I'm doing here feels absolutely wrong. So what were our variables called again? I can't, my head's not functioning right now. So that's east field number. So east field number is equal to east field number plus 1. Okay. And the reverse, well, I guess you then want to minus how many are in west as well, don't you? The Westfield number. Variable. Wait, what? My variable is spelled wrong. Alright, that's fine. Westfield number. Let's delete this wrongly spelled one. Okay. So now we want to do the reverse over here. This is not going to work at all, you know. So we want Eastfield number minus 1. Oh, I've done a plus 1 there as well. That should be a minus there. Westfield number minus 1, Eastfield number minus 1 this time, and Westfield number plus 1 that time. Yep. Okay, so what stops them? Again, we need a delay because it's just gonna, as soon as you press the switch, it's just gonna debounce like crazy, right? So let's do 250 millisecond delay, or even higher, 500 millisecond delay. This is, I guess, assuming that 2 sheep can't pass at once. So let's see where we're at right now. So 6 sheep are allowed to wander between 2 fields. So we know that there's 6 sheep. Do we want to say that they're all in? How do we know where they are to begin with? We're at 0 right now, right? So we need to set, for example, the number in the west field to be 6. So let's do that. Let's say the west field number is equal to 6. And we'll do the east field number is equal to 0. That's our setup parameters. So we can go from there. Oh, we want to write the output now to the LEDs, which is okay. So we do an output. Now I don't know how we split it actually. That was a good point. What did we want to do? We wanted to define. It said we wanted to split the output, split the LEDs. What did it say? Show the results in binary form on the LED array. Use 4 LEDs for the west field and 4 for the east. Okay, so I can. Okay, I know what I can do. No, I don't know what I can do actually. I'm thinking of left shifting and then adding, so I can do some complicated coding here. But is this what they want me to do for this introduction to microcontroller programming? Oh, my head hurts. I'm so sick of this curriculum. This is like, forget about an educational channel. This can just be like a masochist channel. This is hurting me. So, if we want to write to an output, let's first define our output. So we're going to say our output is, we'll make a new variable. We're going to write to port C, and we're going to write the output to port C. So global variable called output, and that's a byte. Yep, that'll work. Okay, so that's the output variable that we're gonna mess around with now. I was gonna say fudge then, I wasn't gonna swear. So, now we take our Westfield number wherever it is. Do we write that to the output and then left shift 4 times? I don't. How do I get it onto the left side of this? The most significant bits. Let's do east first because that's easier. So if we say east field number, no, output is equal to east field number. That's a bit easier. Let's download this and just see if I've got what I believe I should have in my head working correctly. So Flowcode 22, replace that. So I believe I should just be writing now to these. I'm writing to this whole output here, these whole 8 LEDs, but obviously there's only 6. There's only 6 sheep, so it should only ever go up to this. And I'm only writing the eastern number. And I believe east was, what was east? Sensor, no. Oh, we don't know, do we? If sensor 1 first, then sensor 2. So east was 0, then 1. And what do we set? So west is 6 currently. So if I pressed 0, then 1, do we get anything? Oh, I don't have a delay on my output. This is annoying as well. I keep making this like sort of really basic mistake. I don't know if that affects things, but nothing worked there. But I guess I can't see the value of certain variables live as well. One of the best things about PLC programming is when you're programming live, you just click on the green like glasses and you can monitor all your code live on the real hardware and in simulation. So let's go back to here. So press 0, then 1, nothing. 1, then 0, nothing. Oh, did I see it? Did I see it flicker there? I don't know how I'm going to be able to register an input, to be honest with you. So, like this bit of code here isn't going to work. So let's try and do if sensor 1 and sensor 2. To me, that is the same because both of that should happen instantly, but it's not doing anything for me. So put this here, delete that. Let's try this. Again, this is all just pie in the sky type of work for me. I feel like an idiot doing this. Download. This might be my last video on this course. I have not enjoyed it at all. It's been beyond painful. I'm kind of losing the will to live here. So, press them both. Nothing. which I have not been able to get this working. So if you say if sensor 1 and sensor 2, I like both the LEDs are turning on here, so we know the microcontroller is seeing the inputs. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna give up, people. I think ultimately this is a waste of my time. There's a lot more better ways I could be learning to program microcontrollers. So, for example, I've got this really nice fancy LilyGo ESP32 I could start programming. I've got this PIC microcontroller dev board. You know, that got some nice little push buttons on it. Let me can I power it with micro USB, or is it just DC barrel? Oh, it's DC barrel and then this big USB. Yeah, so this chip here is a PIC 16F877A, so it's the older version of this one. And I could learn all the program techniques I need on this, and I bet there's better tutorials or something. So I'm not far off giving up. What's really making me want to give up here right now is I can't get this double condition thing ever working. Like, that never works for me, and I don't. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna give up here because I value my time, and this is a waste of my time. I'm sorry if you're following along this curriculum. I maybe I do have a bit of a speed run, because there are. So how many more exercises are there? So there's one exercise on programming LCDs, and that continues 5 times. Then there's the keypad. I could have a go at that. So that's 2. Then there's analog inputs and EEPROM, 3. So then there's external interrupts. Finally, we're getting somewhere, man. 4. And then timer interrupts. So there's some interesting topics here that I would really like to learn. But again, do they actually teach you, or do they just give you a task? So at least here with time arithmetic, they've got some information. What about the other ones? Tasks. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to give up on this one. I'm not going to give up on the course just yet. But I just want to let you guys know that I'm totally jaded from this experience. I think, I'm not even joking, this might be, maybe other than learning digital signal processing in university, where yeah, I had the worst time. Like, the teacher just did not teach us anything. So other than doing that, this might be my worst learning experience ever. Which is saying something, because I've taught myself a whole bunch of stuff online. But anyways, all right, I'll end this video here. Sorry, 18 minutes is just far too long. I apologize. Next video looks like I'll be using this keypad. Show you over here. Looks like we'll be using this keypad, which this is quite a cool bit of tech in terms of logic levels and stuff like that. So cool. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry I didn't get anywhere with the programming side. I've lost motivation with this, and if it doesn't work first time, or if I know, for example, like this sort of thing here, what I need to know, and if you know, even if I'll probably figure this out, because I'm sure one of the experienced guys at work is going to see this and be like, yo, what are you doing, you dumbo? Use this thing, right? And again, like I said, all my push buttons should be interrupts. If they're interrupts, this whole thing works fine. But because whilst the microcontroller is in this delay mode here or something, it ain't reading anything else. But anyway, so what I need is, if that sensor is pressed, then check if sensor 2 is pressed. If it is pressed, then do X. And I think I might have just, if I put that there, hang on a minute, can I do this? This is one last attempt, and then I'm genuinely not carrying on after this. If I do this, is it? I'm telling the microcontroller where to read the input, so it's reading it at the top. Can I say to it, there, check that sensor. If sensor 1 is pressed, then check the sensor 2. If sensor 2 is pressed, then do this. I finally got it. Again, it's not like I'm going through a bloody curriculum that's meant to be teaching me how these things work. Dear me. If this works, I'll be so happy and so frustrated at the same time. That's funny, actually. Maybe there's some benefit to my rants. Alright, so check again. A0, A1, nothing. A0 and A1 together, nothing. A0, A1, nothing. So is that, I guess, is that because I'm checking sensor 1. Sensor 1 is pressed, but then sensor 2 is not pressed, so it just goes to no. And then it just what? It writes the output, which is 0. Yeah, I have no idea. Alright, I'm sorry, I give up. I'll see you guys in the next video. I might take a few days break. Alright, next video we do keypads. Cool, thanks for watching, take care, bye bye.